Hello.
All right.
Welcome to the Sometimes Video Games podcast. I'm Adam, and I am joined as usual by Charlie Walsh. How are you?
Brap, brap.
Brap.
What? Yo.
You're
How'd
right,
you feel
mate.
about that?
You're
How'd
right.
you feel about that as an intro? I'm testing out.
Just yo.
Yeah. Like
So-
a. Um. What's happening, dude?
Are you Bart Simpson?
Sure, you could say that. I was
Cowabunga.
thinking. Yeah, I was thinking that sort of era. Flat, backwards baseball caps.
Do you own a baseball cap?
No, well, I have two caps, but they're not baseball caps. They're like new era sort of flat rim type caps.
Ah.
Um,
I
but
don't
I do look better than them backwards than I do forwards because as previously discussed, my head is too big for caps, so I have to wear them backwards because forwards just doesn't work because my head's too big.
Yeah, I don't have hats. I have a beanie. Like I typically, if I'm wearing a hat,
You've got a beanie. I've seen you in a beanie.
I wear a beanie, but although my beanie, it's not really a beanie. It's like a woolen bobble hat that I have at the moment.
Sure.
I do like beanies. So I never used to wear hats, and it was when I went to college, I got this like beanie visor thing. It was like it's a beanie hat with a little visor on it, and I was just like, you know what? I actually like wearing this hat, and I don't know why. It was just that hat specifically. And I guess since then I've always just been like, I guess I'll wear beanies. But I won't wear any other type of hat. Like I can't wear caps. Like caps just don't work with me. It doesn't work with long hair. Long hair and caps, I feel weird.
Sure, I can back that. Yeah, I can back that.
Some people manage it.
Ideal.
Some people manage it, and I don't know how. But like for me, I especially cut like. So my hair's not straight; it's like wavy, and it just doesn't work. It looks awful. Like especially tight caps. Ugh, no, not for me.
I back. Yeah, I can understand that. My head's just too big. I wish I could, but it's what it is.
There was a point where I was, I think just at university or something. I was listening to a lot of like Japanese rock. There's a band called Alice 9, and there's a guy. I think it's sort of like fedora-y, the hat that he wears. Yeah. It's like a bowler hat, and I was like, you know what? If I straighten my hair, it looks pretty good with a bowler hat. And that was when it was sort of like, let's say bob length maybe, or pixie length.
Yeah.
I typically go for like pixie cuts if I get when I get a haircut. That sounds really weird. That I'll go a haircut and I'll go, I either get like a bob or a pixie.
I mean, I don't think it sounds that weird. Like I just get my hair cut. They're like, "How do you want it cut?" I'm like, just sort of.
To be fair though, they always ask me like, "Well, how do you want your hair cut?" And I'm like, I don't know. You're the expert. Like, you know more about hair than I do. What do you think would suit my face?
Yeah, what do you want from me?
But like typically they want you to actually know how you want your hair, and I feel like that's so weird because I'm not an expert in hair. Like, I know nothing about
to be fair though, as much as I 100% agree with that, imagine how people would get if they just did what they thought was best and then they didn't like it. You can just imagine people kicking off for no reason.
True. However, however, I feel like nobody knows the best way for them to look. You know, like I don't think anybody knows like. Not nobody, but like some people, like in terms of style, in terms of fashion as well, not just like hair and like beards and accessories and shit or whatever. Like I feel like a lot of people don't know how they actually like how to look best. Yeah, because like style's different for everyone, right? And so like I might not look best with a pixie cut or whatever, but obviously that's how I feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable with hair.
Yeah, it's a bit like the thing we were talking about off air with editing and stuff. It's like if you hire someone to edit the video, I feel like you just let them edit the video and let them sort of decide what's best.
Yeah.
As opposed to like inserting yourself into
not subtweeting
as if
anyway.
You know what it is like. Like if you're a director who's directing a film, then get involved in the editing process.
Oh, 100%.
But if you're some artist who's making a music video and then like hired an editor and a director and someone else to come shoot it, don't get involved.
Charlie is definitely not subtweeting anyone right now.
I'm not talking about anyone in particular.
No, just Just imagine. Just imagine.
I'm just saying, don't ask for the raw footage because
Hypothetically.
you don't know, bruv. You don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah, I
And
feel
I
like none of
definitely
us are
haven't been having conversations with the people who were on the shoot who have been shouting, "You don't know how to edit" at
Oh god.
hypothetically at hypothetically. Anyway, yeah. No,
Oh
but it's a
god.
similar thing, right? It's
Yeah.
like I'm of the opinion that if I went in and I was like, "Oh, you just do what you think's best,"
Mm,
then I'm okay with that. But I can
sure.
only imagine how stressed people would
But
get
like, what do you
if.
think would be? Yeah, you're right because people want their hair to be like what people, but because fashion and style and shit like that. Not that we're particularly people who should be speaking about that shit, but like
Yeah,
fashion and style and shit is like based on how you look individually and not how
yeah,
not what's cool now. Like only
yeah,
certain people can pull off what's cool now.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the
yeah,
amount of people who go to the hairdressers, like guys specifically, are like, I want this weird cut with like the
yeah,
floofty bits on the top and like nothing on the back and sides. Like only like so many people can pull off that look, and not everyone can do it.
yeah.
Like I would look fucking ridiculous with like shaved back and sides, I reckon.
Sure. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Like like I definitely wouldn't be able to pull that shit off. And like it's the same with clothes. Like clothes fit and shoes as well. Like things fit you differently. Things fit you in
Mm.
different ways, and like you gotta be. You can't just take something and go, I think that looks cool, and then put it on and be like, yeah, okay, it looks cool on me now. Because 99% of the time, it probably won't. Unless
Yeah, I
you're a
mean,
fashion guru, unless you know what you're talking about.
and I feel like I've accidentally stumbled in
Mm.
to like what looks good on
Sure,
me,
sure,
I
sure.
guess, at this point.
You
Like,
typically do find it if you well, you probably do typically find it. I don't know.
like, because like recently, really since lockdown, like
Mm.
just before lockdown, I guess I started like I've always worn like t-shirts, graphic t-shirts,
Sure, sure,
because
sure.
it's just easy, right?
Mm.
But like just before lockdown, I got like some black jeans,
Mm.
some like loose black jeans, and then like I got these shoes which were like they're kind of skater shoes to an extent.
Yeah.
They're like black with like a white trim around the bottom or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is like a look with like the hair that I've got at the moment, which again is total accident, my hair at the moment, which is kind of, I mean, it's Keanu Reeves now, which
You're
is John
saying you're
Wick, Keanu
breathtaking.
Reeves. I'm not saying I'm breathtaking. You're breathtaking. No, I think, but it's like it's that hair. I think that is kind of maybe the optimal Charlie look, and that
Mm.
was completely by accident. But if
Mm.
I walked into a place to get my hair cut and then was like, and they were like, I wouldn't know what the hell I was asking for. I
No.
would just sort of probably show them a picture of me 6 months ago and go, that.
Can I have a trim, please? And I'm like, I
Yeah,
guess. Like
yeah,
that's the thing I always struggle with, and I don't know what looks good on me typically, and I know sort of like how I would like I have like severe like body issues to be fair though.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like I look at myself and I go, you know what? If I was 10 stone lighter, if I was half the size of myself, maybe I'd be like okay to jump into clothes that I think would look cool or whatever. But
Yeah.
like at the moment, I'm sort of like I'm not there. So you know what? This jeans and t-shirt thing's gonna
There's
it's gonna
a
have to
guy I
work.
know. Exactly, because there's a guy I know who owns a fashion brand, like a brand of clothing.
Hmm.
Um and he's like tried to give me free clothes in the past.
Oh, sure, cool.
Quite frequently he's tried to give me free clothes and I've always said no. A,
Mm.
because I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. Like,
Mm.
like I understand he's giving them to me, and then
Just
I would wear
pimping
them
you
on a
out.
video, and it's kind of like free advertising. I
Yeah,
100% get it. Like, I get why but I also know he's doing it because he's a super nice guy.
yeah,
But I
yeah.
don't want to be that guy who accepts that sort of stuff, right? But I remember I went to his like base. I don't know
Mm.
what you want to call it. His like his offices
Sure, sure.
where they design all the clothes and stuff, and where they have this like walk-in wardrobe
Yeah.
full of all of their designs from all of the years they've done. They've been going for like years and years and years.
Mm.
But for like the last 5 years, like each season's designs and everything. And
Sure.
it's not like outlandish like clothes or anything. Or like
Mm.
fashiony like whatever clothes. It's kind of like what you would imagine like people who are cool in London to wear. Like
Right.
it's fairly like fashion, like KSI wears their stuff, like people like that wear their stuff, right? But every time he's offered, I've always say no. And last time he offered, he went, "You always say no." Like everyone else says yes, obviously. And he was like, "You always say no." I was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be that guy, and also it just probably like wouldn't suit me because like I'm bigger, blah blah blah." And he was like, "You'd be surprised." I'm like, "Nah," and I don't have the confidence to step out of my hole and go, "Yeah, all right." This is the optimal situation. The guy who's making it is not only telling me that I should because it might suit me, but also he's trying to give it to me for free. But at the same time, it's not my thing. But
We've
it's
got our
just that
little
thing
gremlin
of like,
situations going on where, like, I just want to be in my hoodie.
yeah. I've got my big black hoodie. I'm just gonna stay in that if that's good with you, forever and ever. Amen.
The worst thing is, I think I've spoken about this before, but I had a girlfriend when I was like, let's say, I don't know how old I was, but like 17, 18 or whatever. And she was always like, "You're always wearing black. Stop wearing black." So like now I don't even fucking wear black. I don't even have a black hoodie. I've got this fucking purple hoodie that I've got on right now. Like I can't. I hate it. I'm just like I've got this thing in my head now. Where I'm like I'm not allowed to buy black unless I can buy a black t-shirt, but like I'm not allowed to just buy loads of black stuff.
Sure.
Because like I'm just like, you know what? I need colorful stuff now. I guess. Like she's placed this curse on me,
Drilled it into
where
me.
I'm like, I guess I need to wear colorful stuff. Even like I've got two hoodies. I've got a grey one and I've got a purple one. So it's not particularly like colorful shit. Like I've still got. I like the purple one to be fair, even though it's a bit worn now. But
yeah. Whereas I am too stubborn to take advice like that. Whereas I'm just like, I will wear what I wear, and if you tell me anything, we're gonna either have a fight or I'm just not gonna listen.
Would you wear a purple hoodie?
100% if I wanted to.
If you wanted to, I don't want to though.
Well, to be fair, that's another thing. I've sort of stepped out of that comfort zone a little bit. Not a lot, but a little bit.
Like I'm not 15 anymore. Like I haven't got my hair's not dyed black. I'm not fucking like straight up emo anymore. Like I can wear. And I've got some black jeans. I'm thinking of getting a new pair of jeans as well because I need more than one pair of jeans. I have no clothes. This is a thing.
I've only got two. I've only have two pairs of trousers. They are both black jeans, and that's it.
Yeah. I need more clothes in my life. I have one pair of jeans. They don't fit all that well. They fit fine. I've got some like work pants. This pair of work pants has a massive hole in the crotch. It's more hole than pants now. it's more hole than trouser.
Well,
I don't have any shirts anymore. I don't know where they've all gone. I need to get some shirts, but I feel like shirts don't typically fit me very well.
Yeah, I can't do your button shirts are just not something I can deal with. I feel like they don't look good on me. I've been told the opposite, but I strongly don't believe that.
So I typically go with like a shirt and a hoodie. Like I actually really like the idea of a shirt under a hoodie. Like not a t-shirt, a shirt under a hoodie. And just be like, because I used to wear that for work. When I used to work in the civil service. Because I hated wearing like I generally hate being smart.
Yeah, same. 100%.
Like my hair is all over the place because I prefer it to not be like in one place. Like I like it to have its sort of life of its own kind of thing going on. And I kind of hate being smart, but I understand that like I have to be smart to a point.
Yeah.
So I would just be like, okay, I'll wear a shirt and I'll wear like a hoodie over it.
Yeah.
And then like when I get to work, I can just take the hoodie off, and then I'm wearing a shirt. Like I'm not a tie. I'm not fucking wearing a tie. But then I'm wearing a shirt and I'm wearing some like work trousers and some shoes or whatever. And then all it needs for me to look slightly more casual is just to pop a hoodie on over the top or like plug my headphones in or whatever, and like I look slightly more degenerate than I normally than I would at actual work. Or like I'd roll my sleeves up or whatever, and like look a bit more messy. I would never tuck my shirt in. Like
no, never. When I started when I started accountancy, I asked them. I was like, "What's the dress code?" Like before my first day, I was emailing the HR. I was like, "What's the dress code?" And they're like, "Oh, it's. I mean, most people wear smart, but smart casual's fine." And I was like, "But how smart casual?" And I think you can directly trace like my time in accountancy. 2.5 years I was an accountant. You can probably on a graph directly trace the level of smartness goes down pretty consistently as I learned what I could and couldn't get away with, to the point where like they one of the things they pushed back on was trainers. They were like, no, you have to wear smart shoes.
Okay.
But then I just started getting trainers that were completely black.
And
and
then they wouldn't
completely
notice.
Unremarkable, and they wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, cool, that's what I'm doing then.
Well, shoes typically aren't, like, for me, like the black shoes. I've got quite wide feet.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
And like, so the only shoes that I find particularly comfortable are like the skater shoe kind of thing.
Yep.
Because they're typically quite wide. I've also got small feet as well, which pisses me off. Like the shoes that I bought, the reason why I've got foot problems. So like we were talking about, I've got sort of foot issues at the moment, and I actually think it's kind of a circulation issue. Like reading up more, like it's because the circulation of the blood hasn't flowed to my feet, like my left foot particularly, as freely as it would.
Yeah.
I got some new shoes from like DC. Well, I got some women's shoes. I was like, you know what? These shoes look cool. They've got like they're just black shoes, but like on the rim on the bottom, they've got like paint stains over it. It looks like there's like different color paint stains over it. And I was like, you know what? They look pretty cool. I'll grab that. They're the same length as my feet, but they're not the same width.
Yeah, that was always my issue.
Such a pain in the ass.
I always have to for a long time, until the last couple of years, I was always buying shoes that were like sizes too big because the feet are wide, and so just to get them, just because otherwise it's just painful.
Yeah, you can't wear so like I can wear shoes that are a little bit too long, but I cannot wear shoes that are a little bit too thin.
Yeah.
There was such a long time where I couldn't wear Converse because they were too thin.
Yeah, exactly. Because I have a pair at the moment of Converse, but I can't remember what they are. I think they're Adidas or something. And they look so peng, but they're just so painful because they're too small. They're too thin.
Yeah,
just can't be dealing with it. But
so
it would
make
make
sense if that's
causing issues.
Yeah, I feel like my shoes are like my shoes have always been. I think my shoes have always been our problem with my feet because I have odd problems with feet in general. But like it kind of hurts. Like I can't just buy shoes. Like the only time I bought like shoes was like for work. The only time I felt okay in the shoes that I had for work, I bought some boots. I don't ask. I went to Primark. Because I was like, I need new shoes. I've got holes in my shoes. I need new shoes. I went into and then for a long time I was just like buying pumps every month. Like I was like, I'll buy some £10 by £5 pumps or whatever, and that'll do. You know?
Sure.
Or two lots, so it lasts the whole month. But when it started to get really wet and rainy, I was like, I can't really do that because like legitimately every day my feet get soaked. Which is an issue, especially now. Like now we're coming to winter as well, so my feet are gonna get fucking soaked if I don't just get some good shoes that can keep out the weather. But I bought some boots from Primark, and they were like these big sort of like they were like blue, I guess, but they were like again women's boots, I guess. It's like shit. These are actually okay, you know.
Mate, if they're comfy, they're comfy.
They're okay. I wasn't. They were a bit awkward. They had a heel to them, and I was like, you know, these are quite rough, but they're actually okay. I keep seeing on YouTube. Do you see the Vessies? They're like sneakers or like skate shoes or whatever.
I've almost certainly seen
they're like waterproof.
Okay.
And they're always like it's always like YouTube doing today our video is sponsored by Vessi or whatever. They do waterproof shoes, and then they just pour a glass of water on their like skate shoes and go, look, it just goes straight off.
Ah, yes, something I do on the regular.
Yeah, but I mean, I was like, you know what, that might be helpful for like winter, you know. And I was checking them out, and they're like £100 fucking quid.
Jesus Christ!
And I'm like, I mean, I'd love to get some Vessies, man. They look alright, but like they're £100 fucking quid. I can't afford that shit. Jesus, I was like, oh my god, they're way too expensive. I will probably just have to go to Sports Direct and get like a pair of skate shoes or something.
Yeah, I mean, my shoes are all incredibly cheap. It's great.
Where do you go? I typically did go Sports Direct. Actually, TK Maxx.
Okay.
I found some decent ass shoes in TK Maxx like throughout my life.
Yeah.
Like some decent ass ones. I think the ones that I have right now that have lasted me at least 3 or 4 years came from TK Maxx. She's good.
I get mine from Sports Direct.
Yeah.
All on sale.
Yeah.
Like the shoes I tend to wear the shoes. Like right now, I have 3 pairs of shoes, and that's the most pairs of shoes I've ever owned in my life ever.
True.
Like at most, when I was a kid, I might have had 2, and one of them would be like football shoes, and the other ones would be normal shoes, right?
Yeah.
But like, so I have 3 at the moment. They're the cheapest possible, but they're the most I've had, and they were also the cheapest possible. And the one pair, which is the one I basically always wear, which is the pair I've bought the exact same shoes like the last 5 times in a row or something.
You're so bad with that shit. You're like,
they're like
same with your
16
headphones.
quid, bruv. They're like 16 quid.
It's cheap.
I know my shoes. I go in.
Cheap,
I go all the way to the end of the row where the cheap ones are. I find the pair which is the most black, and then I get them ones.
Okay.
And I just go down. I look underneath. I see my size. And then I grab it. Done. Okay. Next question.
I always enjoyed doing TK Maxx for shoes actually, because I mean the few that I've been in are pretty good. I remember it was ages ago. I think it was before I went off to university the first time. I found like a pair of shoes that were like supposed to be 100 quid, but they were at TK Maxx, but they were like 50 instead. And I was like, what the fuck?
Get involved with that.
I know, right? They were like some Puma stuff, but they're like designer brand Puma things, and I was like, fuck it, why not? I had 2 pairs of shoes.
They're just so cheap that they just wear out so quickly.
Oh, are they that bad?
Oh, faster than I feel like most normal people. But then there's also the fact that I'm always just wearing that one pair anyway.
So yeah, if you have 2 pairs of shoes,
I'm only wearing
like,
one pair.
Having 2 pairs of shoes is ideal, I think. Yeah. Like 2 pairs of like casual shoes. Having 2 pairs of casual shoes and then maybe 2 pairs of work shoes is ideal. So like when I was looking about stuff when I was in work, they were like, you need to have like 2 pairs of work shoes that you wear every day. Like, so you can alternate them, because otherwise they're A, gonna get like smelly, or B, gonna just like wear out really quickly.
Yeah.
So like having 2 pairs of shoes, 2 pairs of casual shoes, 2 pairs of work shoes is probably like the ideal there.
Yeah, it's just a bit.
Or like work shoes, or I say smart shoes, like 2 pairs of casual, 2 pairs of smart shoes, and then you've got like, I guess that's stuff for you, like for weddings and funerals and shit. I guess whatever.
It's just dumb, but it's,
clothes is clothes, isn't it? Clothes is clothes.
Yeah, a little bit.
I find it a bit rough. I'm gonna have to go out and buy some more shit at some point. I just don't have anything. I have a bunch of t-shirts.
Do the Charlie Walsh technique.
Just buy the
Down
cheapest
to the end
shit.
of the row, find the cheapest ones you can get, most black ones you can get. No one's looking because they're all black. They're not gonna look at it,
Yeah.
That's my opinion on the matter.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's one of those. It's one of those, isn't it?
It's one of those.
I don't know. Yeah, it's. I don't know. Clothes.
My favorite. So in video game talk.
Okay.
Do you know
what?
I know, right?
What's a video game?
Who knows? Do you know Dan Douglas on Twitter?
No.
Who does? I mean, I think he used to write about video games. I don't know if he still does.
I don't think I can check him out and see if I know. I definitely don't follow Dan Douglas, but I'll check him.
Mainly, but the thing is, like, I'm sure he used to write about games because I'm sure that's why I followed him. But he's been making.
Is he the obscene low follower account boy?
Yeah. He's been doing. He's been making essentially like a version of Britain in Duke Nukem 3D, like a mod for it.
Okay.
And every day he posts like new things he's made that day for the British version of Duke Nukem 3D. And I just love it because every day I look at it and I'm like, oh my god, that's so accurate. Like when he the other day he posted a perfect fried chicken shop,
nice.
A PFC, and you just look at the front and I feel like I'm walking down a road in East London somewhere and I'm seeing it and I'm like, I'm going in there.
I've seen a couple of these. There's one of Stonehenge here on his thing though.
Yeah, it keeps scrolling up on that thread. It's one thread. He always posts the same thread. You'll see like CEX.
The perfect fried chicken.
Yeah, because the F's a bit, the P and the F is a bit. But keep going, you'll see like a CEX, you'll see like a Pret. Like it's so perfect.
Work on my progress on Weatherspoon's toilet / piss dungeon. Yeah.
Yes. They're beautiful.
As the underground. That's pretty cool. I enjoy that. What's that? It's so his He's at Dan Douglas on Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah, you see his what's he do?
There's
Doom stuff of Britain.
Yeah, there's one where he posted like a PC setup.
Yeah.
And he was like, "This is what British people have," and one of them was like the giant Sports Direct mug and some stuff, and it's just so accurate. Oh,
nice.
I love it.
I like it.
They're just he puts in too much work, and I respect it.
It's good. It's a good thing. I have a few people following him who don't follow that. Like in
I
games as well. Like
I'm
it
really
may just be that
certain
he used to write stuff about games because there's so
I'm
many
certain
games
he
people
did.
following him.
I'm certain he did. I don't know if he still does, but I'm certain he did.
Yes, potentially. Oh, video. Fucking hell! You brought up video games. Jesus Christ, Charlie.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean it.
Did you see the PlayStation thing? PlayStation Showcase.
I did see the PlayStation thing.
What do you reckon? Were you hype? First of all.
I was So going into it, I was interested because
there was some shits like some crash shit teased on Twitter that never happened.
Yeah, although that was never happening anyway. I never believed the crash thing was happening because,
oh, yeah?
Well, I mean, Liam Robertson, who's another video games journalist person, who does like game history secrets
he does leaks and shit, doesn't he?
Yeah, so he does the series, like you've probably seen him do his game history secrets on Did You Know Gaming. But he also has a Patreon where he does his own stuff and he does game history stuff and a bunch of other stuff.
Okay.
But he does like actual kind of journalism, I guess, if you want to put it in that terms, like actually looking into stories and whatever. But he's been saying for months, he's like, no, the Crash Bandicoot game, I'm telling you, is no longer in development. It hasn't been in development for like 6 months.
Right.
Every person at Activision is working on Call of Duty.
Well, yeah. They did officially say that like 6 months ago as well, didn't they? Like everyone.
Yeah, so he's been saying this for like ages, and like the Crash community, which is horrendous, has been really vocally fighting him against it.
Okay.
Because Crash YouTubers, people whose entire YouTube channel is talking about the Crash Bandicoot series, and then they see any news that could possibly begin to hint about a new Crash Bandicoot, and they go, "Oh, there's a new Crash Bandicoot game coming in," and then as the internet, it runs 5 miles with that, and then they go back and tell him, "Oh, look, you're wrong," and he's like, "I'm telling you for a fact, there is not one coming." And then Activision were like, "Hey, everyone is working on Call of Duty," and I'm like, and he's like, "Look, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I'm telling you now, there's not one happening." And so when that Crash rumor started coming around again, because it's their 25th anniversary of Crash Bandicoot this year,
yeah, that's why, yeah.
And like they put out like
some tweets that were, you know, if anything, like leading.
Yeah, it was. People started running before they could walk.
With the didn't they tweet one with the eyes next to it? Like they retweeted the PlayStation Showcase with eyes on it, with the eyes emoji, and I'm like, surely that means something, right?
No, nothing means anything, bro.
You know,
but that's what I mean. I was just like, there's no way. And like, even if we are to get something Crash, like the game that they're supposedly making, which may or may not still be in development, however you want to look at it, is like a multiplayer.
It's Crash Bash, right?
Yeah, called Wampa League, and it's just Crash. And I'm like, that's not a Wampa League. But we'll see. But
like Crash, if you're a Crash YouTuber, which by the way sounds really fucking difficult, like you must have been so starved for content throughout the last like 10 years.
That's the thing. It's like not only that, it's also the fact that like you have to like make money by posting stuff, and so any rumor or anything is
you need to comment on it. Yeah,
you need to get on it to make the money, and it's like it's just not.
Like I follow people who do like specific games and stuff like that. I know people who do like Final Fantasy, for example, because I'm a massive fan of Final Fantasy, and I'll follow people who talk about Final Fantasy on YouTube. But like they have so much to talk about at any one time. Like it literally doesn't matter. Like you've got like 2 ongoing MMOs. You've got like 20 mobile games. Like you don't run out of stuff to talk about. You can like the worst case scenario is you just go, who's coming on to the mobile games this week or whatever, you know, like it's fine. There's always something to talk about. But with Crash, like fuck.
It's like without naming specific names and throwing people under the bus or whatever. There's people in the West Ham community I see who do that, and I'm like, who don't have something to talk about every day, but will do stuff every day. And I'm like, you're just saying stuff.
But like I think that's fine though, right?
I think it's fine, but I think it's you're doing it for the money. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't. My opinion is like my opinion with that, and I'm saying this as someone who's still planning to launch a channel about wrestling, who's going to do something, who's going to be wrestling
It's
every day.
still there.
But it still exists, but I've just the mix and the music video stuff's taken over. But at the same time, covering an entire industry every day is significantly easier than covering a specific football team or a specific franchise. Like when you're like, so for example, the West Ham thing, it's like there's times where I see people posting and they've got nothing to say, but they're just posting for the sake of posting to get the money, to get the views, and it's like,
but that's
just don't post.
That's how
like,
you coming from us, who I assume at this point are a struggling channel who doesn't typically post much at all until we've made something or we've streamed something, we've made some highlights. Like, and we're kind of, and that's not to badmouth us, that's not to BM us, but like to sort of say, look, we're trying to get there. Like the one thing that I'm always told, and the one thing that I'm always seeing as evidence is like, if you push yourself into one direction and go, you know what, I'm going to be this specific thing. I'm going to be a Monster Hunter channel. I'm going to be a Crash Bandicoot channel. I'm going to be a Final Fantasy channel. That's how you get yourself an audience.
Noticed, yeah.
That's how you get noticed. Yeah, exactly. Like, there are so many people that I follow on Twitter who like just play Final Fantasy 14, and like I said, like it is slightly different when you've got something that is actually, you know, continuously doing stuff. Yeah, it's specialization.
It's also slightly different when you're playing the thing. If you're playing the thing for your content, and that's I said the content word.
I mean,
if you're playing the thing for the content, then it's kind of, it's different, right? If you're playing Final Fantasy 14 every day on stream or whatever, that's different than.
It's not even just that, like making videos about it. Like, there's a guy who I follow on Twitter, sorry. I think he's called Dad TV. Let me just find if I've got Gareth Dad TV Gaming on Twitter. And he typically he does like neurodivergent Final Fantasy 14 content. He's supporting autism. But he goes on and he's doing like stuff about like glamour, which is like the fashion stuff in Final Fantasy 14. He's doing stuff about helping like new players. He's doing stuff about like, and all of his content isn't just him playing the game. It's all just him going, well, here's all the aspects of stuff in the game, you know. And yeah, I guess it's the same with stuff like Call of Duty is mentioned there. Like Call of Duty channels always have something to talk about. It's I think the Crash thing is.
I think
it's just rough.
Again, Call of Duty has an ongoing thing. There's always developers. There's 3 developers at any one point making its game. Now everyone's making it. Whatever. Like, again, I still think you have to stretch at times, but at the same time, like that's one thing.
Would they surely not be like, if a Crash streamer, would they surely not like stretch out into like, I guess, Spyro as well? They'd cover Spyro. They'd cover like most of those. I do know a couple 3D platformers. Like, so I watch a bunch of people who play Super Mario Maker. And like, they do typically just play Super Mario Maker, and they have their audience for Super Mario Maker, but they also, some of them at least, also go off and do other games. So like they play Pokemon, or this other guy was playing Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. That was cool for a bit, you know, or playing like really hard games from the Super Nintendo, or you know, that sort of thing. Like, it's. But I don't think he would get any popularity in playing like Zombies Killed My Neighbors or whatever if he didn't play Mario Maker every day and wasn't great at Mario Maker, playing Mario Maker every day, you know.
Yeah, but I think if you're I do think like if you're not playing the games, if you're just talking about the games, then you've got issues. Like, in that sense, not issues in like a you're bad for what you're doing. I'm just saying, like, all of a sudden, like,
the amount of content you can put out there is limited.
Yeah, exactly. And so when you're just creating stuff for the sake of creating stuff, then it becomes like a problem, because you're just like, you're doing it purely for the sake of creating it, whether it be for the money or be for the clicks or whatever. But then specifically, if you're talking about something like Crash, which is just a dead franchise, and I'm saying that to be clear, like, as a huge Crash fan, like, you have to admit sometimes when you think.
Now is it a dead franchise?
There's more life in it than it was, but we're not getting a Crash 5 anytime soon.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
Like, we're not. We know, for example, like, we know for a fact there will be another Mario coming out, despite the fact
Yeah.
We don't know what Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever it ends up being looks like or sounds like or anything.
Like,
We know
for a fact there's
it's
always going to
coming.
be another Mario game.
Yeah, Crash we don't. And when there's so few Crash games coming out, if you're sitting there and you're trying to make videos about it, then the stretch becomes the issue. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. And then
it's the same thing.
You
Like
branch out and you try and make stuff about other 3D platforms, maybe.
Yeah, which is what I've seen. I've seen people do other 3D stuff. Now, to an extent, what happens then is the algorithm gets fed, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you, the algorithm gets fed and the community gets fed. So, what happens is you go, okay, you're sitting there and you stretch out into other games, right? So, you stretch out into Spyro.
Spyro's a natural extension, but then, I guess, other stuff as well, yeah.
I mean, it's the same situation with the franchise, right? But let's say you stretch out into all those. But then there's these couple of other people who are just sat there churning out these videos about every small rumor from unreliable sources that come out of nowhere on Reddit.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I should probably make a video about that because everyone's talking about it.
Because this is I'm a Crash channel and everyone's talking about this bit of... Not everyone, but like a couple of people are talking about this Crash thing, so that'll feed the algorithm and make my thing more popular.
Yeah, and the people are speaking about it, and it just becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so what happens is before these big events, all of these channels start going, oh, there's a Crash thing that's going to get announced. There's Crash things, and like you say, the Crash account wasn't helping. They sent out giant PR
at this point,
for the 25th anniversary.
At this point, I can't blame Crash creators or Crash fans for wanting a Crash game to be announced because the account was like totally to blame for that.
But also, I shouldn't say I'm blaming them for wanting it to be announced. It's more what happens to people like Liam, who have information and say, guys, it's not being made. This is what's happening with these development teams. And then he gets like attacked and all this other nonsense. You're just like, bruv, get over it.
Yeah, don't attack people about it. Like, I don't think it needs to be said, but don't attack people about their opinions on video games, but two, like, if they've said like this isn't happening, don't attack them because of that. Whether it's a leak, whether he knows, whether he doesn't know, it's irrelevant. Just don't fucking... Why would you do this? What's the point? What are you gaining?
So exactly. So then when it comes to like the thing, and I was like, there's not going to be a Crash thing because Liam, who I trust because his information is always bang on, has been saying it for ages, makes sense. And then at the same time, like, if it is, even if somehow that does happen, it's going to be this Crash Bash multiplayer Wumpa League thing. And I'm like, whatever. And then at the same time, you mentioned like the other one that was going around, which you mentioned to me before, was Hitman.
Yeah, wasn't it fucking IO Interactive or whatever said they did the eyes emoji on the... I was like, huh? Have they got something to announce?
Well, they're working on the James Bond thing. So if anything was coming out, I would have assumed it would be the James Bond thing.
Sure.
As opposed to Hitman. I mean, you could just announce Hitman.
I mean, I assumed it was a Hitman, but I know Hitman's just come out, right? So
you could do new Hitman DLC, but at the same time, that seems to be coming. I think they've said that's coming to an end now. And also they've released tons of it and just been announcing it anyway, so it didn't make any sense to me. But I think what was notable about it when we were leading up to it is like, obviously PlayStation have done a bunch of these already. But they're different. Like they usually say, here's a state of play.
It's usually state of play, and it's usually, here's a state of play. We're focusing on this one game.
Yeah, and they'll actively say we are not. We are focusing on this game. We are not talking about this game. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Yeah.
Whereas this got announced, they called it a showcase, which is what they called
would be what an E3 thing
big thing. Yeah. The last big one they did as well, which was when the PS5 was coming out or whatever. That was what they called it. And they only ruled out VR, the new PlayStation VR stuff. And I was like, okay, so this is gonna be a thing.
Potentially big, yeah.
Yeah, it's good. There's gonna be at least some big things announced, as well as updates on, like, God of War was the one I was expecting.
Sure.
Like, we're gonna see significant God of War stuff.
I know a lot of people in mine were in my like mentions on Twitter and stuff like that. We're expecting Final Fantasy 16, which we didn't get. But I think that's...
Just remind me very quickly. Have they announced Final Fantasy 16?
Yes.
I've genuinely forgotten. They have, haven't they?
Yeah.
Okay, Karen.
Yeah, it's being made by the director of Final Fantasy 14. They've shown it a couple times already at the PlayStation conferences and announced it through the PlayStation State of Play stuff. But a lot of people are expecting that because it's coming up to the point where people are expecting it to sort of be released soon, I think. Maybe not this year. Maybe not this year. Probably maybe next year. But, something.
So yeah,
you don't
18
think it
years.
will be released, I guess?
I doubt it.
Like
Not
within
soon.
this. I mean, it
If
will
you
be
say
released at
2020,
some point.
if you say late 2023 to me, I might start believing you.
I think they were saying 2022. I honestly think they were saying 2022.
It's like when they keep saying God of War's going to come out soon. I'm like, there's zero chance, mate. In this environment right now, with like everyone's been working from home and everything, zero chance.
Don't know. It's not like
And to
Final
be
Fantasy
to be fair, to be fair though, it's a bit different with Square. I think in general with Square Enix, the easiest way to think about it is when it's in your hands, then it's out. But before then, God knows.
Well, they specifically said that they didn't want to show off too much before it's pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's the way they're treating Final Fantasy 16 right now. Is we'll show off bits and pieces. When we announced it, we showed off some stuff, and there was another trailer like a little bit later. But they were basically like, we don't really want to show off anymore until it's like good to go.
Yeah, makes sense. Smart thing to do. More people should do that. To be honest,
more people should do that. Square Enix should do that more.
It's like with the yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like with like the Saints Row thing. It's like don't get me wrong, I wasn't particularly happy with what I saw from the Saints Row thing overall, but they announced it and then they're like, cool, it's coming out the beginning of 2022. It's like perfect. Why don't we do this more often? I mean, I know the answer is money, but
wasn't like the Fallout 4 thing was. Yeah, Fallout 4 was the one that sticks in mind.
Yeah, GTA 5 was really close. That was the first one I remember being like. That was the first time I remember being like, "Oh, that's really close" when they announced it, and the conversation around it was like, "Yeah, of course it can. It's GTA. Can they just announce it and it's going to be big?" But like now, more people seem to be slightly more okay with doing that, which I'm just happy about because the endless hype cycle in games is just so tiring to me.
It is tiring. But it's also kind of necessary, I think, as well. I guess I don't know if it is necessary, but like. It kind of is what drives a lot of the video game chat and a lot of the sort of journalism, let's say, and a lot of the media around it is built on like the idea that video game hype is a constant thing, you know.
I guess, but I don't know. I guess what I would say is I don't know whether or not it's necessary for that to speak out loud in order to make that exist.
It absolutely
I feel like if you look at like I think there's two approaches you could take, right? And I don't think games take either. I think games take a weird middle road, and I don't particularly enjoy it. I think you have the way I'm talking about, which would be my preferred way, which is you announce the game when it's 6 months away from being done, and then it comes out, and we will have a good time. Or you do the film method, which I know like Marvel this week, for example, announced like, oh, we've got a bunch of films in development, and they announced a bunch of release dates, and they didn't even say what films they were. They just like unannounced titles. Shit, okay. But I feel like there's the general film mold, which
Marvel's such a weird shit as well.
But I feel like there's the general film approach, which is saying when something is in development, even though it's like 5 years away. And then just coming back when you have something to show. And I think again that's sort of an okay method, but what happens in games is we tend to have this like continual hype cycle for several years about stuff, and it's just tiring to me. And I don't think it's necessary, because I think if you do the first way, the way I'm suggesting, let's be real, there's enough people in video games like your Jason Schreiers, your Patrick Klepeks, Liam Robertson, people who like know stuff behind the scenes, who will do the journalism to go out of their way to talk about things, which will then in turn feed that hype cycle anyway. A good example, not from video games, but something completely separate, is CM Punk coming back to wrestling, and coming back for AEW and wrestling, right? Everyone knew CM Punk was coming back to wrestling for the last 3 months, 2 months or something. They knew when he was coming back. They knew the date he was coming back, what company he was coming back for. And the company that he was coming back for and him were outwardly rejecting it until the moment he walked out onto that stage. But because enough people were talking about it, and when I say enough people, I'm not just talking about the general public, I'm also talking about like reputable reporters talking about it. They sold out the biggest show that company's ever done on the basis he was coming back, because everyone knew it was a guarantee, even though he's actively sort of turning it down and saying, no, I'm doing something else that day. Like saying, oh, I'm going to screaming for this film I'm doing or whatever that day. Like, I feel like the hype cycle can feed itself. You don't need to actively prod it. to an extent. And again, I
No,
understand why they do. It's the answer to every question
it's
that you
sales,
don't
isn't it?
like is money.
Yeah, it's
It,
money.
it all comes down to that. But at the same time,
But I think we in video games, I don't mean us specifically, but like games media in general, and I guess we kind of are arm of that,
adjacent.
adjacent, if anything. But like games media in general needs to, and this is a view that I've always had for a long time. And I think it's part of the reason why I a little bit wanted to start like doing this channel and stuff like that is like I feel like games media needs to chill,
Oh
and
yeah,
also
100%.
it needs to be more respectful. In terms of not like respected, but like respectful towards the idea of games as an art form and not as a point of advertising. Because like a lot of games journalism is just advertising. Like
Yes, yeah,
in the way that like film journalism isn't.
yeah.
Like and the same with like music. So I mean, obviously coming from me, like a lot of where I come from is music, film, and video games. And like looking at all three of those in terms of journalism, like film journalism is fucking absent, right?
Mm.
Like you might pick up a total film magazine or something and there'll be like bits and pieces in there, but outside of like interviews with cast and literally outside of interviews with cast and potentially the director on the launch of a film, like the hype train for a film more or less is dead unless it's a Marvel film. Like it's more or less dead,
Yeah,
right? You don't. There is no hype train. There's here's an announcement. Here's a trailer. Oh shit, that film looks good. I'm gonna go see it.
yeah.
Oh shit, there's an interview with fucking what's his face on BBC Radio One. Ali Plum. He's fucking good. He's a really fucking good interviewer, by the way.
Okay. Fair. I
Genuinely.
don't know. I don't know him, but fair.
Well, yeah, I've only seen him do the. I saw him do the Marvel stuff, and like typically, like he gets a lot of really interesting.
Mm.
Typically, he's really good at putting them at ease. Like really, really good at putting the subject at ease, like the interview
Yeah.
subject, and like just having a nice conversation with them, which
Mm.
is I think one of the most important things about interviews. Um, Either putting them at ease or taking them so off guard that they then say like there's two aspects of interview here that I like, and is there's Ali Plum, what Ali Plum does, which is he puts them at ease and just has a casual chat with them, like with
Mm.
everyone, and then from then on he can get into like weird points where I think one of them he's talking to Taika Waititi about
Mm.
Thor, fucking maybe Thor Ragnarok, maybe not, maybe it's Jojo Rabbit,
Mm.
but he's talking about, and he just has he just has a T-shirt made from a fan of Taika Waititi's in his pocket, and just goes, he's wearing it. He's wearing it, and he says, "Have you seen this T-shirt?" And like the T-shirt says something like it's got a quote from like Korg on it or something like that, and Taika's like, "Oh fuck, I want that T-shirt now."
Mm.
Like that's the culmination of the interview is, "Have you seen my T-shirt?"
Mm. Mm.
Or there's like, "Have you seen Nardwar, the human
No.
serviette?" Uh,
No.
he's I was watching him interview someone like Tyler the Creator, and he's this hyperactive like thing that just knows everything about the person and catches them off guard immediately, and he's just there like, "You're Tyler the Creator, right? We know about Flippity Flapple." And he's like, "What do you mean? How do you know about that?" Like he talks to Kendrick Lamar and he's like, "Who's this guy?" And Kendrick's like, "Oh, that's a guy I was like good friends with in primary school. How the fuck do you know that?" And he's like, "You're Kendrick Lamar. We have to know."
Sure.
It's like he's like, "It's
I've
not a
seen his
question."
name. I've seen his name come up in my related videos, but I've never watched it.
He's really, I mean, he's out there. He's fucking mad. But like he
I mean,
knows.
he sounds it, but I back it. To be fair.
He's really good at just like actually catching people off guard and being like, "I know this about you," and they go, "Why?" Why the fuck do you know that? How the
Yeah.
fuck do you know that?
How?
What is going on?
Mm.
You know, like that's kind of the but yeah, we're off track there. Like I don't know what we're talking about. Like games journalism in terms of like yeah, like like film journalism basically doesn't exist. Neither does music journalism really. You know, like if you open a magazine like Kerrang, let's say Kerrang, because I feel like people are pretty maybe knowledgeable about what Kerrang is. Like in Kerrang, you'll typically have like interviews and then reviews. and like maybe some opinion pieces.
Yeah.
Like there might be an opinion piece from Corey Taylor in there.
Yeah.
You know, fuck it, why not? I think that was actually in Roxanne where they went and got Corey Taylor to do opinion pieces and stuff. But like, and there's a bunch of posters of a band and shit. You know, like, and there's no hype for stuff. There's no like when Kanye West was gonna release Donda, like the only thing that we knew about Donda was that he was living in a fucking stadium, right? Like
Well,
people
I think
hype about it, but
stuff was going round about Donda, but
yeah.
not.
But people weren't going like, I don't know, like people probably were
I guess
making shit, but...
the difference is also like the scale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like significantly more people work on a video game that comes out than work on an album that comes out. And it's like for example, using the CM
and
Punk
a
example,
film
I think
as well, and a film.
like using the fair. Like using the CM Punk example was almost unfair because everyone there's less people who work in the company he went to than if he went to WWE, and also B, everyone who works at the company he goes to, the high level, top level people, all actively want to keep the secret so things are surprises.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the top level people in WWE don't care. So like it's an unfair example to use to an extent.
I think film's probably the best example to use. Mostly because I think games want to be films sometimes and films want to be games sometimes.
But I would personally I would prefer the opposite method. So films, we know a film's coming out when the script gets auctioned. We know who gets attached to be the director, who gets attached to be the main character, blah 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 blah. Whereas like I do prefer the way that like some games have taken up, which is we announce it's coming out in 6 months, which is kind of like the ideal thing for me, because like. And I think it's also like because I remember I was listening to an interview with Jason Schreier around the time his book came out.
All right.
He was on a show that I watch, and he was being interviewed, or he was on a show, and then they spoke about his book for a bit or whatever. And he was of the opinion that they should take the film method, because what happens now, and I agree with him on this, is like this eternal kind of like hype machine only feeds into like a kind of to use a maybe an overused phrase, only it feeds into this toxic culture where inevitably like when something gets announced as delayed, all of a sudden that's the worst thing in the world. You know, developers are getting abused, these people are getting abused, blah 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 blah. And I feel like you have two solutions to that. You either go the film way, which is you announce it super far in advance that it's being made, and then just don't mention it again until it's ready. Or you just don't mention it at all. And that's my preference, is not mentioning it at all. But I do think there's two
I actually like the film. I mean, I kind of agree with that. I think that I kind of agree that the film thing should work. But I also think here's another thing about game journalists. I don't think we interview enough.
I don't think there's interviews. I don't think there's enough interviews, and I definitely don't think there's enough interviews.
Not with cast of games.
Well, not with cast. There's basically none. Yeah, unless you're like Troy Baker.
Unless you're like with the 12-minute stuff, like with Willem Dafoe and fucking whoever else was in that, Daisy Ridley and the other guy. What's his name? James McAvoy.
Yeah, James McAvoy. Yeah.
Jesus, I was just calling a blank there. Like, I saw some stuff with Willem Dafoe, but like, unless you're a Hollywood blockbuster or you're Troy Baker, there is nowhere near enough interviews with cast.
I was listening. That's another thing I was listening to this week, as I was listening to Troy Baker does a podcast with Alana Pearson, Mike Biffle, and Austin Wintory. Play, Watch, Listen. I was listening to that, and Troy Baker was talking about how they were talking about this exact thing, and Troy Baker said how his agent and people, when they're discussing how much to pay in like his responsibilities on the game or what he's gonna have to do and all this other stuff, his agent will actively talk about included in the price, you can get Troy to do like essentially a tour talking about the game, talking about the work. And I don't know how many other people do that, because I barely see it. Whereas he so prominently does it.
And like, I think that's kind of partially why we were able to get Ramsey from the Boyfriend Dungeon soundtrack, is because
people don't ask.
Like said, like he's basically said no one asks.
Yeah.
Like, we don't want to interview. Like, I don't understand why there's no interviews going on in video games. Like, I find it so weird.
Well, and one of the things that opened my eyes to it to an extent, I'm just referencing other things now. But people make games. If we're talking about games media, which I think is one of the best things in games media, and it's specifically one of the best things to come out of UK games media in forever. People make games. Chris Bratt's channel / job, whatever you want to call it, work.
His work, yes.
He did a video on the idea of Gandhi being ultra aggressive with nukes in Civilization.
Yeah.
Amazing video, amazingly put together. I'm very jealous. I said this to my girlfriend once. I was like, if I could have made any video, it would have been that one. Because that, not only do I love Civilization, but that video is so cool to look at. I love that video. But when he emails the Take-Two people who own Firaxis, who make Civilization, to try and get an interview with Sid Meier's about it, to talk about like the sort of myth / urban legend that exists. Their reply to him was, we can't get anything right now. Maybe when, I think it's something along the lines of, like, paraphrasing, maybe when there's a game coming out, so we can sort of tie it into the marketing of that game.
Sure.
Kind of thing, justifying the fact that would exist.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like,
hey, I'm doing a video. So, like, in how journalism works, is that you come up with a story idea and you then interview let's say you interview 2 people. Like, this is basically how I was taught in university, doing journalism as a degree, is that, like, you think of a story, something that is happening, and you go, I need 2 interviews on this.
Yeah.
You know, I need an expert. I need 2 expert interviews on this even.
Yeah.
And then I need to get both of their opinions, and I also need the people's opinion as well. I need to do a vox pop. So, like, then you've got 3 opinions on this. And, like, the whole... I think I have said it before, but maybe behind closed doors and stuff, but, like, journalism... And this is something I've been taught. Journalism is about people, not things. It's about people. So you've got to make it about people. So if Boris Johnson turns around and says, fucking taxes, national insurance is going up or whatever, like, the stories that should come out in the newspaper aren't necessarily Boris Johnson says that national insurance is going up. It's national insurance is going up, and here's how it affects people in the north, people in the south, people in London, people in here, people there, people in this specific town, people who work in factories, people who don't work in factories, you know, everything. And, like, video games is the only thing that I feel like, because, like, I think films do it and talk to actors and stuff like that, not necessarily about the film, but about them and about their experiences with the film. Video games, I don't typically see anything talking about how it affects the people. Like, there was a big thing with the Blizzard shit that came out. You know, the Blizzard, like, accusations and shit about California. But I never really saw any news stories based on how that affected people who played Blizzard's games, or the employees of Blizzard, or the people of California, or whatever. It was always just like, oh, the people who made World of Warcraft are getting sued. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, and there was no interviews with Blizzard staff about how that was going. I assume that would be very difficult, but, you know, there were no interviews with people who played World of Warcraft. There was like one thing where I saw that about a World of Warcraft people were going on strike. Like, players who played World of Warcraft were going on strike for a bit. Like, that was the one thing I saw on that. Like, none of the esports people were interviewed about that. Nobody who plays Overwatch or StarCraft or whatever. Like, Blizzard has so much pull. Activision Blizzard, let's say, has such a big thing in the industry. And I can't believe that these things came out about Activision Blizzard and not one publication decided to actually talk to a person and ask how it affects them. They just said, this is happening. Like, the news story in the games journalism sphere is, this is a thing that is happening, instead of, this is a thing that is happening, let's see how it affects people.
Yeah.
I just find it fucking baffling.
It's a whole thing, isn't it? It's like, it's just like, you look at it, you're just like, oh,
it's just fucking baffling. And, like, that's not to say that I don't respect certain people in video games and stuff, but it hammers home more often than not to me that most video game journalism is just fan writing.
Yes.
Yes. And that's not to, like, again, do anyone, like, badly or anything. Like, it's not to say anyone's work is invalid, but most people are not trained to do
Yeah,
journalism,
and
and
again, I
secondly, they're
think
not paid that way either. Like,
yeah,
not
exactly,
to
yeah,
bring it on the journalists or the people writing, but like they're just not paid that well. Like I've worked, like I think between the two of us, we've worked in and out of. Well, me specifically, like for 10
you
years,
more so
right?
than I have, yeah,
And like it's only over the last couple of years I've even been paid, and
yeah.
like I'll tell you right now, if I looked at the amount of money that we were to get paid at this point in time on our Twitch when we get up to 100, it will probably be more than the amount I've been paid in the last 10 years.
Mad, isn't it?
And we've not even been on Twitch for we've not even been affiliates on Twitch for a year.
No,
And like
no,
and we're really fucking small as a channel. Like
yeah,
we're really fucking tiny. And that's how bad video game. Like it was the thing that hammered it home for me. I think was when I was talking to Jonathan Holmes.
yes,
Jonathan Holmes,
beautiful, wonderful
beautiful
man.
man. He, I think it was during the big debate on when the big thing when people were talking about how much they were getting from games media and games writing.
Yes,
And Jonathan, I don't know why I asked Jonathan. It was just a thing. I just asked him on Twitter, and I was like, what were you getting when you were editor in chief for Destructoid? And he didn't give me a specific amount, but he did say that it wasn't enough to feed his family, and that he had to have a second job when he was editor in chief.
yeah, because he was working in healthcare, wasn't he, at the same time?
Yeah. And like that's fucking ridiculous. And to be fair, he did mention that he took a pay cut so that everybody else could have a pay rise. But like
At the same time,
yeah, it shouldn't have to, right? That's that hammers it home even more that like the editor in chief of and I don't think Destructoid it's not a small publication by any means. Like it's not big. But like I don't think it's I'd say it's medium more than anything, like a medium-sized publication here. Like
it certainly was at the time.
I think I think so. I mean now it's probably gone down a bit, but like they had a mass exodus of really important creators.
Incredibly talented, important people. Yeah.
Like at the time when Jonathan was becoming editor in chief, they had money, surely. And it just didn't. And this has come back to stuff that I know as I like to badmouth any fucking websites in particular, but like I worked for a website for 2 years and they didn't pay any money.
Yep.
They were just like, okay, maybe we can pay, and I guarantee, I don't know specifically, but I know that most of the people were volunteers, and some people were working full time as editors and stuff like that, and I guarantee they're getting paid.
Yeah.
I guarantee they're living okay because I think it's their only job.
Well, that's one, and it's a problem with other things as well. But it's just prominent, in video games, but it's also prominent in our minds as well because we're obviously here. Like I know there's a problem with certain very large sports websites and how much they pay, for example.
I know it's the same with music as well, based on my lecturer who was a music journalism lecturer who used to work for Metal Hammer. Like just the sort the point of it is he's just like, I don't get enough money to live off being a music journalist. I get to travel all the way around the world. I get to do interviews in fucking Kenya, but I don't get enough money to eat. And so I need to also be a lecturer in my spare time. Like I need to be a lecturer in my spare time.
Yeah.
To make my journalism job work.
It's wild. It's wild. But to answer your question, so I was sort of semi-excited for it. Yeah. I felt like there were some things that I felt like it was going to be a bigger deal than other stuff we've seen of late. Because I think we're going. I think, and this ties in with everything we're talking about. I think we're in an interesting phase right now where we were seeing the whole industry and the way it's covered from the media side in terms of like when they announce stuff, what they announce, how they talk about it, in terms of like back in the day, you used to hear journalists talk a lot about these insane press trips they would go on for games to hype games, but now that went away for like 5 years, and now it's just being given to influencers and
true. Yeah, like journalists used to get into hotels and like be taken to hotels in fucking Florida or whatever and be like, hey, do you want to play a video game for a bit? Here's some drink and here's some food. Here's some women.
And instead that's now going to Twitch streamers as opposed to or YouTube people as opposed to, because that's what he wants. So I feel like we were in this interesting time already, and then what happened is the coronavirus and everything I think got supercharged and sped up to where we're seeing these sort of consistent Nintendo Direct style conferences for everyone out of necessity, but also out of that's just the way things were going. To speak directly to your consumer, we're not seeing them split up into PlayStation have a thing, Xbox have a thing, Nintendo have a thing at E3. You're saying flipping Gearbox has a thing at E3. There's like everyone, even the smallest possible singular developers, as opposed to just the main publishers have things. And so this one interested me more than most, because unlike, I remember when the Xbox at Eurogame at Gamescom thing happened, and I was like, I don't know what they've got right now to speak about. They've got a lot of things in development, but there's no scuttlebutt about the potential of like big things coming out at this moment. So what have you got? No, so this is what happened is there was a conversation about it very briefly, I believe, and I was like, I don't think we're gonna get. Well, I don't even know if I ended up bringing it up, because I was like, I don't think there's going to be anything, because again, there was no talk about there being anything. But on top of that, it's like, well, what are we going to do? Whereas you look at this one, for example, and it was like, not only was there scuttlebutt about things happening, but they haven't been speaking constantly, and they rename the naming structure was different. So I was like, right, okay. This feels like there's going to be something, and it turned out there was some things. I mean, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the, I think, to speak about it in general terms, it wasn't like the greatest thing you've ever seen in your life in terms of like from start to finish. It wasn't like this unreal president of just big boy hits.
I think lots of people probably would disagree. Not me personally,
but I think the highlights were very high. Like, for example, the God of War thing doesn't hype me massively, but I understand it's a big deal. There's other stuff that was announced that are big deals, but I don't think from start to finish it's the best thing you've ever seen in your life.
Let's go through it. Let's see.
However, what I would say is that I think it's been significantly better than most, and I wish this was. If we are to go through this pandemonium, this palaver of like everyone having these events all the time, I wish they were more like this, as opposed to the ones we have seen like Xboxes at Gamescom.
Yeah, they should be this big every time, I think. So let's see what
wait until you have something to talk about.
So the first thing that we got was a teaser for Knights of the Old Republic remake.
Yeah, big. I've never played it.
No fucking clue.
I've always really wanted to. It's the BioWare. It's Mass Effect before Mass Effect, wasn't it? So
yes, I think so. Yeah. I have no idea what this is. I literally don't know anything about it.
All I've heard is good things, and like, it's something I've always wanted to play, but I've just never been asked to do it.
Yeah.
So if they're remaking it to make it slightly more like make the controls more modern or whatever, because like going back and playing Dragon Age 1, for example, that was an issue with that stuff. So like, hella interested. But you know, big deal for the people who love that game.
The next one is actually one that I think that I'm probably most excited about.
Bro, okay. Just very quickly,
go on.
When I was watching it, I was like, "Oh, there's your Adam game."
That's the game that Adam was like, "Oh, this looks interesting."
Yeah.
We've got Project Eve. This says it's a kind of Bayonetta-looking action game that takes place in the not-too-distant future on a ruined Earth against unknown enemies.
Is this so? I was halfway through when they were talking about parasites and saying the word Eve. Is this anything to do with that old series?
I don't think it's anything to do with Parasite Eve, no.
Okay.
It's not. It does. Square Enix has nothing to do with it. Shift Up Corporation is the developer and publisher.
Right. Okay.
I don't know who they are. I think they're Korean. Yeah, it's Korean.
Yeah, it was a Korean game in the end. Yeah.
Nothing to do with Parasite Eve, no.
At first, I wasn't like.
I was like, so this is where Bayonetta has been all this time.
Yeah, my first thought was like, this looks like Bayonetta if the main character from Bayonetta was significantly less interesting than Bayonetta.
Yeah.
By the end of that trailer, it just kept kicking off, and I was like, okay, I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
the trailer got better as it went on.
It went from looking like Bayonetta to me to looking like Nier Automata, a bit. With the sort of android-y shit.
I know what you mean.
But with monsters instead of robots, I think, because there's some more monster-y stuff than robots. I was definitely interested. I think it was the one that I looked at and I was like, on first impression, I was like, okay, I'm all right. I'm up for this. Next, we've got the Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. It's the Borderlands D&D spin-off.
Which, like, I'm vaguely interested in, but at the same time, baby metal in the trailer.
Do you know? Yeah, I mean, right. So I think the first thing I was all up for ignoring that this happened because I knew it was Gearbox for a second because it showed Gearbox. I was like, you know what? I'm happy to ignore this. It's just gonna be a Borderlands thing, right? And then fucking Gimme Chocolate came on. I was like, what are you? What has happened?
It fits perfectly.
I mean,
It just
yeah, it does.
the whole vibe of Tiny Tina and flipping baby metal would just work, and it was just like it was like again I was vaguely interested in it before, but like that the whole trailer had like this like Scott Pilgrim editing mixed with baby metal over the top, and I was just like if I wasn't into this game I would be now. Like I'm still like tentative about the whole thing, but like baby metal, man.
Baby metal's great. Baby metal's great.
So good.
Then we saw Forspoken, the new game for Square Enix.
Adam Game Part 2.
I mean, because it's got the word Square Enix in it, I guess. Right.
Well, it seemed like if you told me it was a Final Fantasy game, I would say yes.
So the thing with Forspoken is I think I've always thought it looked cool.
Sure.
This is the first time we've seen faces close up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this looks rough. You know, like from a third person angle with all of the spell effects going off and stuff, I'm like, this looks fucking beautiful. And then the second they've gone like close up on someone's face, I'm like, oh, this. Don't know how I feel about that.
There was a couple of things for me. I think the faces looked fine.
Yeah.
My big thing is that the world looked really stale. And that's been a problem with a couple of things that have been shown of late, where it just doesn't look that detailed. It just sort of exists, and then you've got some places that look sort of dusty, and it's like there really isn't much there.
I think this is the first time I felt kind of like off with because we've seen Forspoken a couple times before, but it's never been like we've had like glimpses of gameplay where she's kind of like just flying about through like forests or whatever. I'm like, damn, this looks cool. I'm up for this. And like this is the first time we've seen any like real gameplay like solidly. And it has put me off a little bit, to be fair. Let's put me off a little bit. But we'll see.
It just we'll see.
There's something not quite right about it.
I like the idea of it. And I remember Gary Wetter, who's writing on it.
Yes.
On a show months ago when it originally got announced, were like, they are putting a lot into this. This is like way bigger than you think it is, which is keeping me interested. Just the idea of like actually they are gunning for this. This is a big deal. That's making me interested in it. How it plays out, we'll see. I'm not confident at this point.
Sure. I think I've lost confidence in it since with this new trailer specifically.
Yeah.
Rainbow Six Extraction.
Yeah, cool. We can, move on.
Yeah. Alan Wake remaster. I think neither of us care a fucking inkling about Ubisoft. So.
Even the people who were into Rainbow Six and Rainbow Six Siege and everything were like when it first got shown, we're like,
yeah.
We'll see. Yeah, Alan Wake. I mean, look, if they've they're coming off of Control. Control obviously has certain elements of Alan Wake in it. Let's say, it's the right time to do a remaster. It's just a remaster of a game I already own, so I don't really care. But cool, like it's giving people a chance who don't own Alan Wake to experience Alan Wake, I guess. I'm not that fussed about it, but whatever. Like, it's cool that it exists.
Still GTA 5.
Oh yeah, we'll keep seeing GTA 5. It's fine.
Sure. Ghostwire Tokyo came back. Ghostwire Tokyo appeared again.
Yeah.
I have no opinion.
I don't know what to think about it anymore. We'll see.
Really?
I'm just at that stage where I'm just waiting for it to come out.
Ikumi Nakamura is no longer working on the game. Since
she's no longer working
the Bethesda thing.
Yeah, she's no longer working out. She's no longer working on it. But it's Tango, right?
Yeah.
So is what's his name working on it still?
I believe
I would
so.
assume so, but I don't think he is.
I don't know.
Who's the guy who flipping? For some reason, I think he left. Hang on. Tango. Shinji Mikami.
Did Shinji Mikami did leave Tango, didn't he?
I feel like he did, right? Because he obviously started Tango, and they made Evil Within, and then he was the person who announced this, and then
he did announce this, yeah.
And then it got involved, and everyone was hyped about it. But like, obviously, he was the person who made me most hyped about it to begin with, because obviously Shinji Mikami. But I think he's only executive. All right, on Wikipedia,
I think he is.
I think he is. So we'll see.
I think he is still in there. I think he's still involved.
So we'll see. I don't know how to feel about that game at all.
It was initially thought that Shinji Mikami took over the project. Instead, it's now believed that Tekken veteran Kenji Kimura is.
It was interesting. It was interesting, but like, we didn't see anything. Now we're seeing stuff. I'm like, maybe we'll see again. Yeah, it's just a wait and see approach on that one, I think.
We've got a new trailer for Guardians of the Galaxy. I thought this trailer was much better than the first trailer we saw. Like a lot better. I think it was actually a decent showing for the game. They showed some
I'm less interested in it now than I'm less interested in it now.
Funny jokes.
I think the jokes really missed on this trailer.
Really?
I don't think I laughed a single time.
I laughed at the dog saying "not the good cat kind of catch." The Russian dog was.
Yeah, that was mildly interesting.
But not the good kind.
Yeah, I think that was the one.
That was the one.
That was the one.
But I think it's the way to showcase Guardians. Like, you throw a couple jokes in there. I mean, the jokes could be better. You show some of the action sequences. I think the action sequences in this looked better than when he was fist fighting the gelatinous cube.
Okay, yeah, I think the action sequences looked better, but I also think that's because you weren't actually seeing gameplay.
Yeah, I think
seeing like
flashes of it. I think we were seeing bits.
No, but what I mean is you were seeing flashes of it, not a segment of gameplay, which is what we saw before, and then we were like, "Oh, this looks bad."
We just saw him punching a gelatinous cube.
Yeah,
which this is like the least exciting boss fight you can ever show.
Which is, don't get me wrong, like this, we're seeing gameplay here, but we're seeing flashes of interesting things, like.
Sure.
Like when we actually saw actual full-on a segment of gameplay, it looked horrendous.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that I'm thinking I can't like I'm less interested in it now than I was even after that one, because after that one at least I was like, oh well, they're trying something where you have like the multiple paths and the decision making stuff and stuff. That's going to be interesting. And then in this one where we saw more of the writing, I was like,
it's not as funny as you'd like, and it's
doesn't slap that much. We'll see. Again, we'll see, but I have no confidence in that right now.
Then we have Vampire Masquerade Blood Hunt.
I said 2 days, like literally not even 2 days, about 6 hours before watching this, I was like, I really want to play Blood Hunt.
Okay. Just
because it's a new battle royale, it looks kind of all right. I'll probably do what I do with every battle royale, which is play it for a week and then never touch it again. Cool. Good times. And then they were like, cool, it's come to PS5. And I'm like, all right, cool. I mean, it's supposed to come out this year, so whether I actually bother waiting or just play it on PC for a week and then move on with my life, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
it looks like a kind of cool battle royale, but I don't think it's ever going to be it's not going to be a 10 out of 10 by any stretch of imagination. It looks like it'll be it looks like a double A battle royale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It looks like a solid 7 out
10.
of 10.
Then Deathloop happened.
Yeah, it's coming out. It's coming out in like a few days.
3 days, yeah, 3 days now. I think this was the least interested I've ever been in Deathloop, and I was never up for it to begin with. Like, that trailer really turned me off.
I think they're just showing stuff for the sake of showing stuff at this point. I think they have to.
They need to keep people aware of it, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's just unfortunate that it's taken so long. Like the delays of, I think, sort of, they had quite a cool sort of flow going before, and I think the delays have just thrown it off to when we just get this, which is like, we'll see. Like, yeah, whatever. It's coming out in a few days. We'll find out how good it is when the reviews drop in 3 days or so.
Yeah. Then we got a fucking weird one. We got Kid Amnesiac, the virtual exhibition by Radiohead.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, that exists.
Like, what is going on? What is happening? I was so confused. I don't know what this is going to be. I'm very confused.
I think it's just going to be a walking sim.
with some Radiohead going. I mean, fine, right? I'll listen to the
Yeah.
Radiohead album, I guess.
Well, there's a new Radiohead album coming out.
It's Kid A Amnesiac. It's
Yeah,
it's a remaster of Kid A Amnesia, as well, and then I think there's an album they have called Amnesia, and then there's some remixes, I think, or some new stuff on the end as well.
Yeah, so they're releasing new music. Saying like, yeah, whatever whatever. I think it's just gonna be. My gut says it's just a walking simulator with weird stuff going on.
Weird title to have existed though.
Whatever. We're in a space of life where titles can't be good anymore. We just have to accept that they're trash. You know?
I don't even that. I just think it's weird that Radiohead have a game coming out.
I mean, ABBA are doing a virtual Gorillaz concert, so at this point, the cards are off the table. You know.
Okay. Chaya. That looked pretty interesting.
I like the bit when they transmogrified into a dog.
There's a crabs that you can pet. It reminds me very heavily of Wind Waker, because she did the bit where she was floating around on the leaf.
Oh yeah.
This is the other game that I came off on. You know what?
Yeah, cool. Oh yeah, 100%. You can see that a mile away. He looks alright. I'm interested. We'll see when it comes out if it's any good.
Could be cool. PS4, PS5 Epic Game Store next year. This baffled me a bit. The Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection. Uncharted. Are they all getting remasters, or is it just 4 and Lost Legacy?
4 and Lost Legacy.
Because I was under the impression that we're all getting remasters and releases on PC.
No, just 4 and Lost Legacy.
Okay.
As a single package.
I don't get it.
It's money. The film's coming out. They need something out to at the same time as the film make more money.
Is the film coming out? I mean, it's being made, but
it's been filmed. It's in editing. They filmed it already.
Is it? I thought they were having issues still.
No, it's done, bro.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's done. I don't know when it's coming out. I don't know what the release date is, but it's coming out soon.
This is out due early 2022, so let's assume that the film's coming out early 2022 as well.
That would be my bet. I mean, originally, I think the idea was maybe have the Uncharted remake, this Uncharted 1 remake that might exist or whatever, to come out alongside it, and then they were like, actually, no, we're going to move that. They're now doing a Last of Us 1 remake or whatever, and then I don't know. I think it all just got moved around. My gut is that there is the Uncharted film coming out. They want something out around the same time. The Uncharted film is currently set to release February 18th, 2022.
Okay, so let's assume that it's a similar time. I mean, that's early 2022. It just says due out early 2022. Yeah, so I just assume it's a very similar time. Let's say it's going to be February, which is a busy month, right?
No, I think the beginning of February 2022's got. Oh, sorry, the beginning of 2022's just got tons going on. Every month is just going to be bang, bang, bang. But I think apart from January, which is a little bit quieter, the rest up until I don't know, up until like spring is just mad.
Then we got the very big surprise, Wolverine. Insomniac are doing Wolverine.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Just to say, October 29th is when the filming ended for. Last year was when the filming for Uncharted ended.
Okay, fair enough then. I clearly wasn't paying that much attention.
I mean, why would you?
Yeah. Wolverine. What did you think? Do you like Wolverine?
Yeah.
Sure.
He's got he's alright. Look, I think.
Yeah, he's got claws.
I would be less excited about this if Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales weren't so good.
Yeah.
And like Insomniac doing it, like gives me all of the confidence in the world that this will bang.
I mean, I think we'll talk about it a little bit later, but Insomniac have a lot going on at the moment, so.
They've got a lot going on. They've got 2 games. They're making 2 games
I say a lot, but like
which is what they've been doing for years.
You know, yeah, it's fine. Yeah,
they've been doing this for a hot minute now, but like, it's like if they hadn't made Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 1 is real good.
Yeah.
Miles Morales is still very good. It doesn't quite reach the same heights, but it's still very, very good.
Sure.
It makes me have all the confidence. And again, them not giving any sort of, them just being like, listen we're making it. It's coming out in a long time.
He's got claws.
they've not even began to even hint at a release date. Like,
No.
they've not even given us a year. Like, even the thing we'll talk about after has that. So, like,
Yeah.
this gives me hope that this is going to be like a legit thing. Yeah, I'm very interested. If again, I don't think it's going to be. I don't know what the gameplay of a Wolverine game is in 2021 or
people say like a
2020
hack and slash shit, you know, like
by the time it comes out. But
yeah,
yeah,
you could play like God of War, I guess.
Yeah, or I guess you could almost play it like Ratchet and Clank to an extent.
Without
like,
the guns.
Instead of guns, you're just running about hack and slashing stuff. But
yeah, maybe.
I'm excited though. Wolverine is my favorite X-Man, if that helps. I think he's everyone's favorite X-Man.
Probably. It's between him and Gambit, right?
The one thing I will say that's a massive compliment to Insomniac's work compared to Guardians of the Galaxy, compared to the Avengers game that came out.
Sure.
Not only that I'm excited for this, actively excited, despite not really caring too much about Marvel stuff.
Yeah.
But B is that when I've played the Spider-Man stuff, I haven't gone, this isn't Tom Holland or whoever.
Sure.
I've just gone, this is Spider-Man. You know,
because they've not tried to make him Tom Holland. They've not tried to make him. So I mean, to be fair, the Guardians guys, I don't think are massively trying to be like Chris Pratt or
no. But like, when I look at
the
it,
Avengers
I'm not
stuff,
like,
you're like,
I'm not caring enough about the characters to really even begin to think, oh, this is Spider-Man. I'm like, this just isn't the Avengers I like.
Yeah,
this isn't.
The Avengers one is so weird. Like it's just a
right.
Yeah. It's
so then, yeah. So when we get to this, and it's like Spider-Man or Wolverine, I'm like, ooh, I don't even have to think about it. I'm not sitting there going, this isn't. Can't remember the guy's name. Who's the actor who plays Wolverine again? He's really famous.
Hugh Jackman.
That's the one. I'm not thinking, oh, that's not Hugh Jackman, even though we don't know yet. But I'm not thinking, oh, that's not Tom Holland. I'm just thinking that's Spider-Man. That's Wolverine, which is like super hype for me. That's the biggest compliment I can pay it, to be honest.
Yeah. I get you.
Because there's so many incredibly successful Marvel products out right now, like in films, and incredibly success, incredibly prominent people playing those characters that I don't think about that. I think that's a massive, massive compliment. So yeah, I'm interested. I don't suspect we'll see it before 2025. And I'm completely okay with that.
No. Next came out on the PlayStation conference thing. Gran Turismo 7.
Yeah, it's a car game.
It's cars.
They were very clear about the fact they were cars.
They are cars, yeah. Do you like the cars?
Do you know what? They take so long between Gran Turismo that I'm at the time where I've forgotten that I don't like Gran Turismo and I'm willing to give Gran Turismo another shot. Now, will I like it?
Like, I don't like Gran Turismo, but I've forgotten that.
So... they take so long to make a Gran Turismo game that I've genuinely kind of a little bit forgotten that I don't like Gran Turismo.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
We'll see. I realistic racing games like Gran Turismo, like Forza Motorsport, I've never been super into. Forza Horizon. Now we're talking. If there was a Gran Turismo Horizon, whatever that would be, I'd be into.
Do you think Gran Turismo would take stuff from Forza Horizon?
Zero chance.
Really?
Zero chance.
You think they're just going to be like, nah, let's ignore all of our contemporaries and just continue on doing...
Oh, bro, they just do their thing, and they're incredibly successful doing their thing. Do you know what I
mean? Yeah, I guess.
It'll come out, it'll sell 10 million copies, and then we just move on with our lives. It's what Gran Turismo does.
Yeah, fair.
Gran Turismo is the highest selling PlayStation franchise of all time for a reason.
It is, isn't it? Jeez, okay.
They make bank. And that's because they do their thing. It's going to look incredible. And I won't buy it when it comes out, but I've forgotten that I don't like it, and I'm willing to give it another shot.
Fair play. Then we come up to Spider-Man 2, which stars Venom. It's out 2023. We hype.
Yeah, the first two are so good.
I've not played Spider-Man. I haven't played either of them.
Spider-Man 1, I had expectations of being fun going into it, and didn't expect the story and the writing to be good enough to give me an emotional punch at the end, and it did. Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, this is good. This is good.
Good. Yeah."
And then Miles Morales, I went into with those expectations of being good, and it was still pretty flipping good. Like it wasn't as good, but it was still pretty good, and a lot of the things it does are very good. So this idea of the new one, it's got both of them in it. Venom exists. the Venom Man.
The Venom Man,
Like
yeah.
it's
He has the
it's good
Venom.
enough to where it's good enough to where I'm instantly interested in
Do you
to
like
see where it
Venom?
goes.
A lot of people really like Venom. I'm not sure, but
He's not my favorite Spider. But look,
it's not
here's the
your
thing
favorite
with me.
Spider-Man, no.
The easiest way to tell if I like a character from Spider-Man is it in Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro on the PlayStation 1. If they are
Are
in
they?
that, then I like them a lot.
I don't know what
If
characters are in that, other than I
you got
guess Electro and Spider-Man.
Electro, Lizards guy, is he called the
The
Lizards?
Lizard,
He's in it.
yeah, he's yeah, the Lizard.
Um, Sandman, he's in it.
Enter Sandman, yeah.
And a Sandman himself, yeah, yeah.
Fair,
So I don't think Venom was in that one.
fair. And then I guess the last thing that was announced was the God of War Ragnarok thing. It wasn't announced; it was just shown off. I guess they'd already announced
Yes.
it, hadn't they? But we
Yeah,
had
it's just his
we had a
first
big
big showing.
trailer. Have you played God of War 1?
No, I've been waiting for a time to just sit down and play it properly. I have it, because it was on the PlayStation Collection when the PlayStation 5 comes out, so I do
Of
own it.
course, yes. Yeah,
But
yeah.
I've just never got round. I'm waiting for a time to sit down and properly play it, because I suspect I'm going to really like it. Because I really like the original God of Wars, and I suspect I will really like this one as well.
That's cool. That's cool.
But yeah, no, it's intriguing to me. I still love the fact that they've killed all the Greek gods, so they had to go and find another mythology
They
to
were
go and
like, what
murder.
mythology can we ruin now?
What one can we murder now? Oh, I know.
There's only one, right? The
Wow.
Thor was shown. That's the thing.
Well, he was, yeah. Some
Big boy Thor.
A drawing of Thor was shown,
A drawing of Thor.
which
Yeah.
that and the existence of someone who wasn't a white man kicked off a lot of fuss
Oh,
on the internet.
the young girl. I don't remember what her name is, but yeah, the young girl.
I don't think her name was even announced. It might have been, but it
No, but I
wasn't in the
think people
trailer.
know
But
who
it
she
might have been
is,
subsequently.
or people have either
Uh,
rumored who she is or whatever. But yeah. That
yeah.
was fun, wasn't
But it
it?
looks cool. It looks cool.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah.
cool. I can't say I like. I'm excited for it, but only because I haven't played the first one, so I'm not like buzzing like hype, 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 hype.
Yeah,
But
same.
I'm like, you know what? That's probably going to be a really good game.
I'm very happy for people who are super excited for God of War Ragnarok.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah,
just not. I've not played any God of War game. Like I haven't played a single one. And considering I
yeah,
was so into hack and slash when I was younger, you know,
yeah. Those first,
it
like,
was a weird one.
don't get me wrong.
Mm.
There's a lot of problems there, and they are completely insane. But
Yeah.
I love the insanity, and I love the gameplay of the God of Wars, and the new one's tonal shift
Mm.
seems like it would make me way more interested in every aspect of the game, and
Mm.
not just the cool fun gameplay.
What was the game for you? Like the game, like for me, it was Project Eve. I think was the game that I was more interested in than any of the others.
Question.
What was the one game for you?
That was. mm, Trying to think. I mean, Wolverine's up there. I can't lie. Specifically from this showing, then probably Wolverine was the most.
I think from this
Was
showing,
the most like. Was the most. Ooh,
yeah.
Project Eve was pretty much up there.
Oh really?
Probably Wolverine.
Mm.
Like that trailer, man. The longer it
The
went
trailer
on, the better it got.
did look good. Yeah, did look good. Let's be fair.
Because like originally I was just like, okay, whatever. But then the more it went on, the more stuff was happening. It was
It's just
about
one
the
of
time
those.
when she was sliding down the giant tunnel, circular tunnel or whatever, and it was all exploding. Where I was like,
Like, okay, this has some
okay.
action in it, and I am enjoying the action that it is showing.
Oh, you're intriguing me here.
Congratulations.
You're intriguing me.
I definitely, yeah. I think that was. I think it gave. I was intrigued by it more than anything. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
this looks interesting. It's
Yeah.
not a name. It's like a brand new title that nobody has any idea that it existed. It's Korean, which is interesting. I don't know many like big Korean games in general. Like I there's a couple, but like, you know,
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, that's the PlayStation stuff. I think that's probably it for the podcast at the moment as well. What are we doing? What's next? We were going to do a 100 subscribers special tomorrow, but I think that's off because not all of us are available. We usually have a third person with us, Louis, who is not here for personal reasons. Which is, you know,
But shout out to everyone for getting to 100 followers on Twitch. I mean,
yes,
for us, that's wild.
I feel like that's wild. I feel like that's absolutely wild. I know a lot of our followers are just Blue Alpha, but
Listen,
you know what? It all adds up. It all adds up.
It all adds up. It all adds up.
So I think we're going to do something else tomorrow. Usually Sundays is moving forward. Sundays are going to be our community streams.
Yep.
So we're going to play a game with the community, with people who we enjoy, I guess, as well. Like other streamers, maybe sometimes. Depends on what's going on. We haven't actually decided because it's been such a late sort of thing what we're going to do. But it may boil down to either like GeoGuessr or a Jackbox. Let's just
knowing us.
Knowing us, GeoGuessr or a Jackbox. Almost definitely. So you can pop in and see that on This Is Watford, yeah. On Sundays at 7:30. I think. Oh, we're moving a little bit later, aren't we? Well, 8 o'clock-ish. Whatever. 8, 7, half 8. One of those. This podcast will be going up on YouTube. You can follow our YouTube as well, sometimes Video Games. Again, the last thing that we uploaded in there was this very nice interview with Ramsey Karubi of Boyfriend Dungeon's soundtrack. It's a lovely interview. You can also find out what his top 3 favourite fruits are.
Which is the most important thing, in my opinion.
It is the most important thing. I've decided that's an ongoing thing for us, and we're going to continue to do that, by the way.
I respect that. I mean, look, it's as the inventor of the top 3 fruits.
Yeah. I think it's such a good thing.
I just respect it, you know.
Other than that, we are yet to decide what we're doing throughout the week, but we'll be deciding that later. Keep an eye on the channel. If you have enjoyed the podcast, give us a follow. You can also hear this again on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes, and all the rest of the stuff. Apple Podcasts now, isn't it? It's not iTunes anymore. It's Apple Podcast. Yeah, it's so Apple old I bloody am. You can see it on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. One of them. Oh. One of them. Spotify as well. Yeah, just type in Sometimes Video Games. We're all there. All of our weird podcast episodes are there. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone who's been giving a listen. It's been nice having you around. Yeah. Anything else to say, Charlie?
Shout out to everyone who watched it live when we recorded it on Twitch as well. Yeah. Big shout out to everyone there. Appreciate it.
Big thanks. It's been nice of you. Enjoy your days, everybody. Have a nice day. Afternoon,
like a weekend.
Weekend? Yeah, it was Saturday, isn't it? Saturday.
It's Saturday.
As of time of recording.
It's still Saturday.
Still Saturday. It won't be. It might not be Saturday when you listen to us. Is what I mean. Might be
fair enough. To those people, enjoy your week.
It might be whatever. It might be another day. Could be any day.
I mean, that is how time works.
That's how time works, isn't it?
That is how time works. It could be literally any day.
It could be literally any day, any time.
Look, tomorrow the world might come out with a press conference and say, "Look, we've added a new day."
Oh.
So it could be that new day. It might not even be a day that we think of.
Charlie, if you were to invent a new day, where would you want it to be?
Oh, in between Saturday and Sunday, obviously.
As an extra weekend day.
Obviously.
What would you call it?
I feel like that's the obvious answer.
What would you call it?
Fun day.
Fun day.
Fun day.
So it'd be Saturday, fun day, Sunday.
Yeah.
What would you do on fun day?
Knowing me, probably sleep. Knowing me, probably sleep. I can't lie. That's probably the answer to the question is sleep. I mean, like I had a stream today at what? I started at 2:30. I woke up at 2:10. So probably
just do a sleepy, innit? Thank you very much, everyone who's been sticking around. It's been great having you. Be sure to check us out elsewhere. We'll be streaming next week on Monday and Tuesday. We'll figure out what we're doing. Just check us out. Right. See you guys later. Goodbye.
See you then. Bye.